I would like to introduce you to a guy those of you who have been at management meetings with Siemens have seen quite often. Normally not on stage, though. This is Tille. He takes the photographs during the events that we have. And today, for his presentation, you will see him in a different role. And we're all very curious what you have to tell us, Chris. Enjoy.
Yeah, hello. I will not do a group picture now, so you can be really relaxed, I swear. A good idea, yeah. No, but I payback time. That's mean, guy. But before I start with my presentation, I would like to tell you a little background story why I'm here today. So it was in December 2016. Johannes Appitsch asked me if I would like to give a presentation about my art at his management meeting in February. And I said, yeah, maybe, but only in German, because my English is really, really bad. And he said, okay, German is fine. So I agreed. And I gave my presentation in February, and after the presentation, Helmut Ludwig asked me if I would like to give my presentation in Texas as well. I said, in German, no. So I said, no, sorry, I can't do that. So 2 months later, Johannes Patzer, where is he? Here, I see him. Johannes Patzer asked me if I would like to give my presentation here in Prague. And guess what I answered? No, sorry. But Mr. Patzer asked me a second time. And I said no. And he asked me a third time. And I said no. But Kai, I know, you were the driving force in the background. So Mr. Patzer was really persistent, and he started a really sneaky plan. And here's the sneaky plan. He called my wife. And now you see the result. I'm standing here and giving the presentation in English. So sorry for my English. I had only 4 months time to improve it. So during my presentation, I would like to lead you through my whole photographic career, and you will also receive some really private information. Really private. A little bit sad, so it's not funny. So I started with a classical apprenticeship in Innsbruck, Austria. So I learned all about technique stuff, how to use different camera sizes, how to work in the darkroom. It was frisch auf Bild. So. But from my point of view, it was a little bit too technique-orientated. So after 2 years, I thought maybe, from my point of view, it's necessary to go more in a creative direction. And that's my favorite picture from that time. So that was an unconventional classroom in the darkroom. So here you learn how to work in the darkroom. And so I decided after my apprenticeship I will go more in a creative direction. That was my aim. But then I had the pleasure, and Achim, you know exactly what I mean. I had the pleasure to join the German army. And Achim was also a paratrooper, so we jumped out of planes and helicopters. So it was really an exciting time. And after that, a really bad thing happened. My father died after a short and heavy illness. And that was really, for me, it was really hard because I was really close to him. And he was also an artist and musician, so he gave me so many advice, and it was really, really hard. And the only thing what helped me during that time was a book from Robert Frank. Robert Frank is, from my point of view, one of the most famous photographer, post-war photographer in the world. And he put everything in this book. There was emotion, his life, his art, his work, everything was in this book. And he had also really bad times. For example, his daughter died after a plane crash. She was only 20 years old. And his son also died, so really bad times. And I think he handled his sorrow through his work, and that was through his art. And that helped me really a lot and motivated me. And so after a few weeks, I thought really, I have to meet this man. That was my aim. I want to meet this man, Robert Frank. The problem was, he was really famous, and I had no address. But I found some hints in the book. So one small caption on a picture, and there was Mabu Mines. And another page, it was a page where he was in the hospital. He took pictures in the hospital, and it was Halifax. So I thought maybe it could be Nova Scotia, Halifax, Mabu Mines, maybe the small village. There was no internet, so you can't Google it. So I pulled all my little money together and flew to Halifax. I arrived in Halifax, and that's a picture from me, my first selfie, with my favorite camera, Nikon FM2. And so I arrived in Halifax, and I asked the man from the tourism information how to get to Mabu Mines. And he said, I don't know Mabu Mines. And he looked on the map, and there was no Mabu Mines. And I thought, okay, great. But then a colleague said, there is Mabu, close. Mabu he found on the map, so maybe it's close to Mabu Mines because it sounds similar. So I said to him, okay, then I want to buy a ticket to Mabu. And he said, there's no possibility to get by train or bus. The only possibility is to rent a car. So I tried to rent a car, but I had no credit card and really less money, so I didn't get a car. So I decided to go by bus. The last bus station was, I think, 100 miles away from Mabu. So I thought maybe I can then go by hitchhiking. So I drove with the bus, and next to me sat Carl. A really old man, he was, I think, 80 years old. And I spoke to him, and he said, oh, I want to visit my hometown, maybe a last time. And I asked him which hometown, and he said, you will not know. So I asked a second time, similar to Johannes Patzer. And he said, Mabu. And that was really, I thought, that's really fate. That's really unbelievable. So I asked him if I can come with him because he wanted to rent a car at the last bus station, and then I can come with him to Mabu. So that was really great, but the drive was really terrible with him. He has never been driven since 20 years. So the first thing he did, he drove the wrong way on the highway. So the trucks came toward, and they used the horn, and it was really terrible. It was really terrible. But after 2.5 hours, we arrived healthy, Mabu. And short before we arrived, he said, and where are you going to sleep? And I said, I have no idea. And he said, yeah, that could be a problem because there's no hotel, no B&B. So, but he had really a great idea. He knew an old couple, the Rankins, and they had a son, and the son is most of the time in the US, so maybe I can have his room. So we knocked on the door from the Rankins. It was 11 at night, and Mrs. Rankin opened the door with her really beautiful sleeping dress. It was really with flowers and everything. And she was totally confused. There's a young guy from Germany. He was traveling from Germany to Mabu only to see Robert Frank. No one knew that Robert Frank is really a famous photographer in this region. But she was really nice, so they gave me the room. And in the next day in the morning, Mr. Rankin explained me exactly how to walk to Robert Frank's house. It was really close. To Mabu, it was 10 miles. So I started to walk. First it was a dirt track, and then more a trail, and then I saw this sign. I thought, okay, that's great. But I never saw a beer during that time. So I arrived Robert Frank's house, and I knocked on his door, and guess what happened? He was not there. It was really a simple wooden hut, really simple. And so I repeated that for 5 days, always walking, walking, walking. And then I think Mr. Rankin had compassion with me. So he called Robert Frank, and Robert Frank told him that he would come in 2 days. So I was really happy. After 7 days, 100 miles walking through bare mountain area, I met this unbelievable great man. That was really great. That's Robert Frank. And I spoke about 8 hours with him. It was really easy for me because he's originally from Switzerland, so he spoke fluently Schweizerdeutsch. So it was really cool. And yeah, it was great. And here you see his place. It was funny because he was at that time 75. And I thought maybe it's the last time to visit him, but now he is 94 and is really fit. And yeah, and I think the key message what I received from him was really have the courage to change something if you not believe in it 100%, even if you have success with it at the moment. That's the most important thing I learned from him. So I flew back to Germany. I was really motivated. And can I say hungry? I was hungry to learn more about really great personalities, and I glimpsed the German art market and I found Katharina Sieverding. She is an artist and photographer, and she touched me really most, and so I wrote to her a letter. I put my portfolio in it, and I wrote also about my experience with Robert Frank and sent it to her. And after 2 weeks, she wrote back and she invited me to Salzburg, and then she offered me to be her assistant for 2 years. And that was really a great possibility for me. And I want to show you a picture from her because she's a strong woman. Do you believe it? No, she's really a strong woman, and she had really a great start in her career. She was in the masterclass of Joseph Beuys. Here you see Joseph Beuys and her, and some examples from her. So that was really a great time, and she exhibited in 1997 at the Biennale in Venice, and there I met also Marina Abramovic. Do you know Marina Abramovic? She is, from my point of view, the most successful performance artist in the world. And I spoke also with her, and I think all 3 mentors, they have really one thing in common, and that's courage to change something. And that's helped me a lot. That's Marina Abramovic. And that's one of her famous performances with her partner. She did it for hours, so both. Then, after 2 years, I thought, now I'm really ready to be an artist, professional artist. So I bought a VW bus and traveled through Germany, Europe, and took thousands of pictures. It was really great. So I had really the feeling I'm free. I was obsessed for my work, and it was really great. I had also a big exhibition in a city hall, and I got really positive feedback. And I thought, now I'm really an artist. The problem was, after 1 year, I realized that I can't run my life from my work. So I had no money. That was really a huge problem. So I sold to less. So I thought, okay, I have to go maybe another direction. So I decided to go in a business direction for a limited time. So I created a portfolio, put portraits in it, architecture pictures, industry pictures, and send it to potential customers. And the first customer I gained was, I'm sure some of you know the letters. No? Who knows it? Siemens Procurement and Logistics Services. So my first job was to take portraits from Theo Kowalski, Klaus Schlichting. So Johannes, you know the time. And we did a picture database that was really innovative because it was 1999, I think. So and during that time, I met the former head of corporate design, Jürgen Bartel. And Jürgen Bartel was really, he was fascinated by my recent work and also by my artistic background. And so he had really a great idea. He had the idea to create Siemens design structures. That was the idea. The aim was to create abstract images which you can use for abstract or future themes. So you have sometimes the problem if you have, for example, a general theme and you use a SRE picture, then I'm sure GS or SFS, or they would say, why do you use a SRE picture? And so our aim was to create abstract images. And here you see some examples. So we developed a software tool where you can put in concrete Siemens pictures, old Siemens pictures, and the software tool fragmented the pictures into design structures. So we were really proud about that. So we produced a book, a CD-ROM, a box, and we were really proud. And we launched the project, and yeah, we got immediately harsh criticism, negative feedback. So the first mail from a Siemens employee was, "Is your thinking also unstructured than the design structures?" And I thought, yes. But it was really not funny, because it was a really huge budget behind, and Jürgen Bartel, he was really under pressure, so it was not funny. But after 6 months, the former CEO, Klaus Kleinfeld, he used the design structures as a big projection in the background for the SBC conference. And here you see our old and new chancellor and Klaus Kleinfeld. And what do you think what happened? From that moment on, the design structures, we got so much praise. It's an enrichment for Siemens. It's so innovative, and it's great to have these design structures. And so it was really a huge success. But after that SBC event, then I did a lot of different things for Siemens. It's, for example, a wind park close to Malmö for Spiegelanzeige. Or for Top Plus, we did a lot for Top Plus. And we created the picture books for Brandville with thousands of pictures. It was really great around the world, so it was really unbelievable. Sorry, I have to drink a little bit. And then I met my future wife. And she grew up in Tegernsee. And that was the first moment I got in contact with this place. And I'm not sure, some of you maybe know Tegernsee. It's a small lake in the Alps, surrounded by mountains, clear water, maybe a little bit kitschy, but also magic, I think. And so I fell totally in love with this place. Of course, much more with my future wife. Everyone yield. So I started to take pictures from this place, and I was really obsessed. And at the beginning, I would say classical landscape photography. So really figurative. And I had, after 1 year, my first exhibition in a 5-star hotel. And I got really positive feedback. But the main difference to the past was I sold pictures immediately. So that's, I'm not sure, maybe some of you know him. It's Georg Kofler, the former CEO of Premiere, a big television company. And he bought a really huge format, and so I sold at the first exhibition really a lot. And that was really the first moment where I thought, okay, now I can earn money with my art, and I can run my life with it. And then that was 2009. I took a picture. It was bad weather. It was a little bit foggy, and it was the background vanished a little bit, and the focus on the reeds. And I liked this. But what I really not liked, or didn't like, was to take pictures during bad weather. That was bad weather. So I thought maybe I can find a solution to reduce the content from the picture. And so I put my camera on a tripod, and I moved the camera. And while I moved the camera, the shutter was open. So the result was totally reduced images. And here you see some examples. So the only thing what left was the core structure and the core color. And that I liked really. So I did a lot in this direction. And sometimes, it's a little bit bright here, but the lake is, in October, sometimes it looks like melted copper. It's unbelievable. It's really... And for that cycle, I gained also a great customer, and I'm sure some of you know this is his old office. But he moved with the picture in his new office, so it's Dr. Ralf Thomas. He bought 4 slices, or 4 pieces, sorry. And then I searched for new things, and I found the universe in the lake. I'm sure you know, if the sun is really high and really strong, you see on the water surface millions or billions of sparkling dots. And my aim was to catch these small dots. And I used a really long lens, a really short shutter speed, and 8,000th a second. And then I captured the stars on the lake. And then I made a mistake. So I had a wrong setting, and the shutter speed was too long. And due to the shutter speed, which was too long, and the movement of the stars on the lake, the stars drew their own picture. And it was not planned, but I liked the style, and it's like a complex line drawing. And I thought, that's great. Now the lake is the artist, and the lake does it for free. I thought it's perfect. I have only to select the picture. And here you see a little bit with more ground, and it's sometimes, I think that picture, I took it at noon, so it looks like a neon light. And after that, I met a friend, and he's a professor of music in Salzburg, and he told me about a software he used to analyze sound. And I thought maybe that could be interesting, because I was always fascinated by the sound around me while I'm taking pictures. And so I thought maybe I can combine these 2 levels, so the visual level and the sound level. And so I used an original picture, and I recorded the sound while I'm taking the picture. And here you see the original, the raw file, and then I put it in the software, and the software changed it related to the sound parameters. And so you have both levels, the sound level and the visual level. And then I did a lot of different variations. And then I had really a visual burnout. I'm not sure if the word is correct, but so it was really terrible, because I saw nothing new. I was searching for new things, but there was nothing new. I thought really everything was already photographed. So, at that time, I thought about Marina Abramovic, and she gave me a lot of advice. And I asked me also, am I really an artist? Should I go back to the figurative landscape photography? So I was really insecure. And I would like to show you some statements from Marina Abramovic about that.
So when I was teaching, this was one of the tests I will ask, how you know you're an artist. That's the main question. And to know if you're an artist or not is like a breathing. You don't question breathing. You have to breathe, otherwise you just die, so you breathe. So if you wake up in the morning and you have some ideas and you have to make them, and this become like a kind of almost obsession, and you have to create, and you have this urge to create, you're definitely an artist. But you're not a great artist, you're just an artist. To be a great artist, that's all different types of rules. And you really have to kind of, it's like you're obsessed. It's like it's nothing else in your mind till you realize the work, and this complexity of the intensity that you put into work. And also, I think the great artists have to be ready to fail, which is not too many people do. Because when you have success in a certain way, then and the public accept you in a certain way, you start somehow involuntarily reproducing the same images, the same type of work, and you're not risking. And the real artists, always change their territories, and they go to the land they've never been. And there is unknown territory, and then you can fail and you can risk. And that failure actually is what makes this extra, ready to fail. That makes great artists.
Yeah, and that's really, I think, that helped me a lot, and I was really ready to fail. So I had really the courage to change something. So because I saw nothing new, so my idea was maybe I should create only images from sound without visual impulses. That was my idea, because that's every photographer, he needs visual impulses, and I thought, okay, that's maybe really a break, and it's really something new. So I searched for a solution to translate sound into light, and I found a really easy method. And I try to explain it to you. It's really not important that you understand it, but my English is not good, so I tried. So you have a sound. Every sound consists of frequency, length, and volume. So it's really easy. If you have a loud tone in the higher frequency, you get a brighter pixel in the upper area of the picture. If you have, for example, a quiet tone in the lower frequency, you get a darker pixel in the lower area. If the tone is at the beginning of the sound, you get a pixel at the front area of the picture. Really easy. In black and white, and that was my idea, so I recorded a lot of different sounds. And my wife hated me for that, because I used also orgasm from porn movies, because I thought that's a great expression, And that was the result terrible. It looks like a ultrasonic picture from a pregnant woman, so I was really... So after a few months, I thought, okay, I have to stop this project, because it's terrible after a few months orgasm. And we have 2 kids, so I have always closed the door. But after a few months, I read an article about Professor Kramer. And Professor Kramer, he is a physicist from Washington. I hate the word physicist. From Washington. It's similar to exhibited. So I read this article, and Professor Kramer was the first scientist who made the Big Bang, the birth of our universe, the first 760,000 years of our universe, based on real data from Max Planck Institute, audible. So he created the sound based on real data from the Big Bang. And that blew me away, really. So I thought maybe that's my last chance after orgasm to translate the Big Bang sound into light. That was my idea. And it took 3 weeks. And then I got the result, and that was the result. A really huge picture, over 8 meters wide. And I was really happy, because it was with structure, it was with order, it was reduced, and a really, really strong background story. So I was really happy about that. So I thought, okay, that could be... I was really curious, what would Max Planck Institute say about that picture? Because the original data, the data were from Max Planck Institute. So I thought maybe I should... Oh, sorry, that's too far. I thought, okay, I should send it maybe to Max Planck. So I sent it to the press department, because I had no other address. And after 2 weeks, I got a call from Dr. Enslin. He is the head of analysis at Max Planck. And he was really nice, and he was really, how can I say, he was really fascinated, because, of course, there are a lot of artists who try to translate scientific themes into art, but most of the time in an emotional way or in an arbitrary way. And I was an artist who did it in a real data-based way, and so he was really fascinated, and he's now a really good friend of mine. And I would say Thorsten is my data source. So from that moment on, I got a lot of data, sometimes exclusive data, and that was really great. And then I gained also a great customer for that picture, because Big Bang, it's really a big theme, and I know I look really funny on this picture, but That's Pierre Lagrange. Pierre Lagrange, he's an investment banker from London, and he became a little bit famous because he earned 2008 400 million pounds in 1 year. So he is really an extraordinary personality, and he became also famous because 3 years ago he left his wife and his 3 kids, and he is now living with his man, his boyfriend together, with a star designer from London, and he had also the most expensive divorce in London. So, and his boat, he had also a boat, and the name of the boat is Sea Force One. So but he has hung the Big Bang in his office. And then my next cycle was First Light. It was inspired by Thorsten, and yeah, First Light because it's really the first light. It's closely related to the cosmic microwave background. The cosmic microwave background is the background noise of our universe. And it's the most remote and therefore oldest light that can be measured from Earth. Originating 380,000 years after the Big Bang and taking 13.7 billion years to reach the Earth. And Max Planck, they created a really huge picture, really colorful because they wanted to show the temperature differences, and I reduced this picture into black and white, and I used only the outlines. And the result is a really huge map of the first light. It's like a complex line drawing, but based on real data. Every line has a fixed position. Then my next project, 10,000 AD. My wife hated me also for that project because it's a little bit bright, so you can't see it really good, but do you know what it is? Milky Way, really good. Not the chocolate. But it's not the Milky Way now, it's the Milky Way in 8,000 years. So I calculated the position of the stars of 1.2 million stars. I used 2 star catalogs, Tycho and Hipparcos, and I calculated the new positions. And here you see a small detail of the map. And then I moved every single star, or sometimes small groups, to the new position. So it took 1,000 working hours and 8 months' time. So and every single dot has a fixed position. So I dreamt from dots and stars and New Horizon. You know. You will see it fits perfectly. You see the picture? It looks like maybe sunrise or a sunset, but it's not. I try to explain it, it's not so easy. So you have 1.3 billion years ago, there were 2 black holes, each with a diameter of only 200 kilometers. It sounds really less, but both 50 times as heavy as our sun. And they collided 1.3 billion years ago. And through this collision, gravitational waves were sent out. And after 1.3 billion years, in September 2015, they reached the Earth and they could measure it. And that's unbelievable, because Albert Einstein, he said 100 years ago that there were gravitational waves. He said a lot of things about space, time, curvature, and so on. And this measurement confirmed mostly of his theories. So that was really a groundbreaking event. And I translated the original sound from LIGO, from one of the institutes, and translated it tone by tone into light. And that's the picture. So it's, from my point of view, the strongest energy ever measured. So it fits perfectly to New Horizon. And I gained also a really good customer for that picture, and I'm sure you know him, or a lot of you. He has also a lot of power. Dr. Vladimir Klitschko, he has hung it in his office in Hamburg. And then my last project for today, 2297. I was not inspired by Thorsten. I was inspired by Dr. Klingholz. And Dr. Klingholz, he's a researcher at the Berlin Institute for Population and Development. And he wrote a really positive story how the Earth will be 2297. So he predicts, for example, that the population will decrease to 4.3 billion people because the birth rate's decreasing dramatically. He predicts a lot of things, the prosperity will rise. So a lot of positive things. And I like positive people and I like positive stories. So I thought, how can I visualize the Earth in 2297? And I found something interesting at NASA. NASA sent 2011 a satellite into space called Suomu NPP. And the satellite surrounded the Earth 322 times. And the satellite captured the Earth by night in a really high resolution. So the only thing what you can see is the mankind light. And that's really difficult because the satellite is flying really fast and the mankind light is really weak, so you need a really sensitive sensor. And so I used this really huge picture and I changed it. So I played a little bit God. I changed it, so I populated whole regions, Africa, and I have let whole islands disappear like Sylt or Maldives. So, so I changed a lot. Here you see Europe, for example. The only thing what you see is mankind light. There's no border, no line, no nothing else. And yeah, Dr. Klingholz, he said a lot of things. That's Greenland, for example. He predicts that Greenland becomes a really great holiday destination. They will grow wine. The population will rise from 55,000 to 9 million. So a really positive development for Greenland. And so I changed a lot. And yeah, with this positive outlook, I think. And it's not a fairy tale. It's really based on his research results. I would like to finish my presentation with one last quote. Just as science is the intellect of our world, art is its soul. It's from Maxim Gorky. And I added, when science becomes art, the universe reveals itself. Thank you so much.